historical folklore, but by sticking to the period details, we're locked down to like, this is what it was. So that makes a very clear bar for me and all of my collaborators to chase.
The creative process with Robert is pretty fantastic, and he, over the period of writing projects, puts together his own lookbooks, and so they come as a primer. Color is a huge part of costuming, and to try and think, if you're not using color to denote or to vary or to intensify scenes, then texture becomes very important, contrast becomes very important. We are making everything that you see here, and they end up in the wardrobes of the characters. In this case, it's old and young, the two characters of the film. So we start from the skin out with period underwear. What we did in this instance was we replicated the equivalent of overlock stitching so that it would look authentic. Next we do shirts. This one was researched. This one is actually an example that I found on the internet, and we replicated it. This is another one. This is called a plastron shirt or a bib front shirt. Very interesting details as well. So it's a center front plus this piece, plus pockets. We made trousers. Even the suspenders we took apart and rebuilt so that they were specifically for this film. This is an example of a Guernsey sweater that was knit for the film. There's a lot of imagery in the script that has to do with sea. And in the stitching of this, there are different stitches. So there's waves, there's beach. And for Old, his was also hand knit. Old is the actual lighthouse keeper, so his uniform has the K's for keeper, and then it has the United States Lighthouse Establishment buttons, and they're all antique buttons. They were hard to find. The cap is modeled on the insignia of the period, and then we over embroidered to make them different, because that's also what would have happened in the period. They would have had their uniforms made locally to specifications. This one is Young's, this one is Old's. These are our overalls that would have been present at the lighthouse, and we did the stencil and then we mounted it on the bib. And then we have a scene in the film where there's whitewash going on, and so they get stained. We keep them because they're referenced later. And then the oilskins. Because it's set on the coast of Maine, we did a specific design that has this front flap. We did a short one for Young, matching overalls and sou'wester. And these are actually made from two fabrics that are bonded together, Filson waxed, and then Filson waxed again, and then Filson waxed again. The fabrication part I love. It's always a challenge. And then I also really love the shooting part of the project, you know, to watch and to witness the characters come to life with the actors and wearing the clothing and making it their own is really thrilling.
Every building that you see in the film was made for the film. We built a 70-foot lighthouse tower and the keeper's cottage, and Craig Lathrop and his team did an incredible job. It was very difficult because the location, Cape Forshue, is this outcropping of volcanic rock, and there were 3 nor'easters that blew over Forshue while they were building this stuff.
We wanted this film to be in that shoulder. At the end of winter, early spring, everything was bleak. So what that meant for us is, of course, we were building everything in winter. We did quite a bit of research during pre-production. I relied quite heavily on instructions to a lightkeeper from 1881, the manuals that the lightkeepers used, sort of my Bible in terms of what lightkeepers did during their day, and how lighthouses work, and the Fresnel lenses, and the clockwork, and you know, all of that. I started off picking out the bits that I thought were going to be difficult to do. The Fresnel lens, I thought that would take extra time, which it did. And so I designed that. I was looking for one that we could rent, but we didn't find any. So that's where I started.
When you have a Fresnel, you know, we visit a museum with a Fresnel lens, they put a 100-watt bulb in there. That's it. And because of the magnifying